Hello, it's Bethany, and I'm a lower elementary Montessori teacher. And today I'm doing another What Do I Present Next? But this time we're doing time money measurement. If you haven't seen the numeration episode, go back and see that one. And then there will be two more math ones after this. So, what do I present next? Time, money, and measurement. So, what this is a brief overview of my maps I made and my scope and sequence. I don't tell you these specific things in order which to go. I'm just telling you what to present then in a little bit of order. But with the time money measurements, it's just basically groups of what I like to present to each grade level. And as you'll see, it's a lot of review as well. So I will talk briefly about my scope and sequence and maps. So the scope and sequence, which looks like this, many pages. It has the cultural, first grade, second grade, and third grade math, language, and geometry. And then for the math maps, you have the total map, but then it also breaks it down to numeration, time, money, measurement, geometry, word problems, graphs, extra concepts, and then a counting map. And those are for the kids that still yet don't quite know how to count all the way to like 1,000. Or you could also use it in the early childhood. And then for the language maps, we have the total language map, which combines all of them. And then the writing, word study, grammar, and then the words map, which is going through all the different like vowel sounds, blends, and then the vowel blends as well. So, first grade time, money, and measurement. So we have, I like to start out with, for the first graders, for time, parts of the clock, draw and make it. You can make it with a um, paper plate. You just poke a hole, cut out the arrows or the hands, and do brass fasteners. And then they can have like their own clock to learn on. Obviously, there's those little yellow clocks, there's wooden clocks you could use, but I just like to have a lot of hands-on things for the first graders to use, and that is what they use in this one. And then we have time, hour, half hour, quarter past, quarter till. Now, I don't do this all in order. It'll be like work on the hour, and then a couple weeks later, half hour, a couple weeks later, quarter past, a couple weeks later, quarter till, and then review them, review them, review them. Same with the money. I like to do the penny, nickel, dime, quarter, the recognition. I like to use the stamps for this one. So stamping out pennies, like I'll write make 15 cents just of pennies, but then that's easy to also do with nickels once you do nickels. Dimes, make 30 cents. And then quarters, I like to specify like there's 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, a dollar. That same pattern over and over again. So they know that 4 quarters makes a dollar, which also deals with fractions. And then for ruler measurements, kids love the ruler measurements. So that's inch, half inch, centimeter. You can also do the fourth inch, 3/4 of an inch, but that's more like a second, third year thing. And again, that I guess only applies in the United States because everywhere else just use like the centimeter and other systems. And then for the fractions, I break them up into the whole to fifth, and then they'll do the sixth to tenths. I like to just have them draw them and then color them in and write like whole and like half, as in like HALF, and then make the half symbol. And then another time when they go back and review some fractions, they could do like 3/6 and color in the 3/6, things like that. Adding coins is a nice one. So like 1 penny, 1 nickel, 1 dime. I also like to say like, right, like 35 cents and see what they come up with to reach that with the stamps or just the coins in general. I used to have plastic coins, but I just use real coins now just because um, it always seemed like the plastic ones got lost and the kids respect the real coins more. They're like, oh, this is real money. We have to keep it safe. Um, Kitchen measurement tools. I like to do that with the fractions usually around November when it's like baking before holidays at November and December. So like say, well, this is a half cup, which matches like the red half fraction. And then measurement word problems too. So um just saying, so I don't know, Sally measured this and it was a half of an inch and she measured something else. Just Very simple for third grade. And now for second grade, you will see it's review all the time, review all the money, review all the rulers, and then review the fractions all the 10th because then for clocks, yeah, because I put review time. So then for clocks, it's going to be the 5 minute clock and the 1 minute clock. And hopefully by second grade, they can read a clock well. But again, you're going to review all of it in third grade. Um, Adding fractions is one. I should have put a space because adding fractions, I like to just be able to push. That's just pushing the red fractions of Montessori together. That is a lot of fun to do because it's so simple. You could just take like 1/5 and 2/5 and put them together and it equals 3/5. It's a great like hands-on learning one. I know Montessori is a lot of hands-on learning, but that's just one of the best ones for the concept to the material. And then greater or less than fractions. This is a difficult one because like on a page, they're like, well, this number is bigger than this one. But when they see it laid out with the pieces again, the fractions are a great material. They can see which one is physically greater or less than. Plus, then it reiterates the greater or less than concept without just using whole numbers. Oops, I did not mean to leave. Oopsies. Oops. I didn't mean to leave that in there. That was from the other one. And then probability, and then rounding to the nearest 10. Did I not do these on? No, I think I wanted to leave them. Did I add? I added some. Yes. Writing in there. And I think I just left these in here because they didn't really fit on the other one, but that's okay. You just know you have to go over those as well. This one was supposed to be with the numeration one. If you watch a numeration video, I just forgot to take it out. And then also second grade concepts you could do is making change, elapsed time, subtracting money, and reading thermometers because that is a form of measurement. So now just remember you're going to review all of this with your third graders, but the biggest thing you want to focus on with third grade, it's more big than ever. Typically, I think they do a lot of fractions in, oops, I gave it away. I was going to say, because here we go. The third grade, all you want to do is review all of that. And then usually this is like more fourth grade, but it's a lot more in third grade now that I've seen is fractions. All you're going to be focusing on a lot is fractions. Um, there is, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot for fourth grade, but so much more um fractions for third grade. A lot of fractions, and we do take one test a year, but we might be changing how we do things at my school this year. So the fractions, it's a the one thing I need to make sure I practice more with the students and see if you also do this is putting fractions on a number line. I don't know why that is so important, but there were so many questions about fractions on number lines, or like just saying that like 2/4 equals 1/2. There's reducing fractions, equivalent fractions, so many things like that that the students just have to know. Fractions on a number line, very big. But again, you have to make sure that they're still doing their money, their time, and their measurements. Usually by third grade, they all know how to use a ruler really well and everything, and they know how to add money. That's one thing quickly third years can do is like get the money down. So that's really nice. And then time, it's iffy if the student knows that time is just one of those things where it's like they don't care to look at the clock. They're like, well, what about a phone? So that type of thing. They just like the digital clocks. But I would just say focus on fractions for third grade and review everything else. Fraction word problems and all the different types of fractions, mixed fractions. Again, the adding fractions, you could also do subtracting fractions, and there's always multiplying fractions, division fractions, like that was all in my manual. So all that stuff you need to do. Just a lot of fractions for the time money measurement fractions. So we will see you in the next video. It's going to be another math walkthrough, and that'll be great. Thank you so much. And always, you can get my scope and sequence down below or my free hub of resources that have so many resources. I just went through it because when I'm filming this, it's like the first week of school, of like back to school. So, I just went through and I got all my free stuff. I got the bookmarks from there for the students to do. I got the back to school letters, back to school activities, so many things. I just said, oh wait, that's definitely in there. I need a copy of my work plan. I was like, I'm just gonna get it from there really quick instead of looking through my files on my computer, just so quick. So thank you for watching. I hope that you join the free hub below or consider buying the scope and sequence. I also have symbolizing cards I can list for you as well. Thank you for watching.